of FTU Secondary, Mr. Bure. We have with us all the directors.
It's a very important event. Education Forum is alluded to by Director Corporate Studies. It gives us an opportunity to converge and exchange ideas. So I thank you again for availing yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, for rural governance and conversion, the notion that an effective education system can directly contribute to quality and hardship reduction, as well as contribute to long-term economic growth and stability. Acquisition of knowledge and skills improves individuals' earning potential and ability to invest wisely in their future and those of the country. Educating women and girls is particularly transformative. Raises their earning potential, allows them to have a second household affairs, be treated with dignity and respect. Countries now are making increasing investment into quality content, quality procedures, quality management of teaching staff and human resources, instituting quality student experience at school, quality learners, motivating quality home experience including health, which are connecting school life, quality learning environment in schools, and quality outcomes. These attributes are seen education worldwide to move towards empowering disadvantaged communities of groups to innovative quality education in equal access to all, further developing quality early childhood development and education, implementing accessible quality technical and vocational education, strengthening teacher professionalization through training incentive schemes, developing learning assessment frameworks that use effective methodologies to provide evidence for teaching and learning needs to improve, collating accurate and reliable statistics and educational indicators to develop an effective monitoring framework for evidence-based policy making, developing contemporary ECE primary and secondary service curriculum, creating safe schools where students' health, welfare, gender sensitivity, and well-being are second to none, developing greater public-private partnership approach to foster better relationship, and at the same time create investment of students. Lastly, most importantly, developing greater empowered parental engagement in the education of our children. Ladies and gentlemen, the successful implementation of the Bangladesh government's brainchild to create a knowledge-based society which is in line with SDG 4, ensuring inclusive and quality education, promote lifelong learning opportunities for depends on a strong political will and the dedication to drive forward the changes to existing ideas, structures and plans. The Bainimarama-led government over the years has shown its commitment to the enormous growth and progress and development, which is certainly a testimony to the level of commitment that is rendered to the education sector today. Gone are the days where groups of people are sidelined due to ethnicity, gender, social and ethnic status. Now the movement is to put every child to school and improve the quality of service to them. Fiji is looking at topics such as climate change, global warming, women into policy making, issues of disaster preparedness, sustainability of natural and cultural resources, preservation of culture and tradition, fight against these health issues are the present of great interest now. We would want to produce global citizens. Ladies and gentlemen, Fiji has been successful in its bid to be the chair of this United Nations climate change meeting known as COP23. Our Honorable Prime Minister said in this campaign that we are certainly proud of being the first United Nation to fulfill this role. Now, our education system will also reflect this topic. Regular skills this issue affects not only our nation, but many other regional island nations. Many small islands, rural indigenous people, communities are on the front line of climate change, and the education system cannot be ignorant to this knowledge base. Ladies and gentlemen, after taking on the Ministry of Education, Learning and Arts, we have shown an unrelenting commitment to improving the education system. To put it across in simple terms, the system was outdated and a hindrance to development the nation as a whole. The equation was not balanced because on one hand, modernizing globalization was having a deep impact on the people with a stagnant system which does not comprehend the progress the world had made in education. The general education in this era is clearly focused on needs of the child. Governments have to take education to the people, especially in a country where people are spread across communities. There is no doubt that an educated society is an essential tool to break the shackles of poverty. However, if excessive education is fraught with obstacles, in the select few, the privileged and the connected are the only ones whose children can attain education. This is a recipe for long-term inequality, hardship and poverty. Education must be seen as a public good and as a right for everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, education, access to education is top priority of our government. Access to physically and economically accessible, educational accessible to disabled, special needs group, education accessible by all ethnic groups, education access to ease transport and travel, education access to removal of technological barrier, education access to both genders and non-limitations, and access to education with relentless progress, and benchmarking quality, equity, and just privileges. We have guaranteed accessibility to education by eliminating over cost of education right from ECE to university level. Education in the 21st century requires stakeholders to rigor preschool and kindergarten education, coordinate intervention to raise the standard and quality of learning. This is the foundation of learning and cannot be ignored as alien combined with positive experiences and directions are vital for preparing quality learners. With government's free education policy, enrollment numbers in schools have shot up. So in the figure 1 and table 1 below, given there, projected, schools are given grants per student, which is used by them, uplift the resource base, make developments in physical environment, and invest in education assistance of children. There's a slight drop in the secondary education, and that probably is due to the establishment of campus technical college, which has attracted a lot of students who actually do not lie in higher education stream. In the German education is ensuring accessibility to education at the tertiary level for removal of divisive policies. Our Topaz Scholarship Scheme has been highly successful, with students benefiting through the merit. The loan scheme is also given out to deserving students to complete their higher education, and under no circumstances are any deserving students deprived of this support. The number of students who are benefiting from these schemes have continued to increase in 2014, as shown at the table projected. You could see that in 2014, a total of 5,326 students were studying in various institutions, which increased to 16,860 via government-funded schemes in 2017. Furthermore, in Germany, to facilitate the demands of education in the 21st century, we have guaranteed accessibility to education by eliminating transport issues of students in some cases, transport issues of teachers as well. Bus fare vouchers have been given, and also we have facilitated the movement of students from one island to the other across those small islands by providing boarding and Ladies and gentlemen, the above deals with how access to education is made possible by our government. However, the final output and thus outcome of a knowledge-based society requires us to have a dynamic education system evolving over time and dealing with contemporary issues. Education in this period cannot stay rooted to age-old teacher preparedness system or non-progressive teaching skills and teaching methodologies. The child in the 21st century is different with diverse needs, and similarly the education has been dynamic and well-trained and transformational. Teachers need to comprehend its situation of teaching and learning in this current time, upgrade and upskill themselves and become highly productive. Children no longer respond to age-old talk and chalk teacher practices or teacher does all routines. Ladies and gentlemen, teaching has two components: subject matter knowledge and pedagogy of teaching. Subject matter knowledge is not really an issue given that all teachers are qualified for an diploma and degree in respective subject areas. However, pedagogy is a critical variable in teaching. It deals with having the required knowledge and practice to teach and enhance learning of students. It deals with specialist knowledge and skills on subject matter delivery. Teaching pedagogies, particularly in secondary school, must be continuously enhanced so that it can improve the learning environment and have students captivated. From my observation, given the plethora of instructions, this is one of the most important challenges facing Fijian children today. On this note, I wish to quote from a recent article published in the Australian Journal of Education, 2016, titled Multimodal Representation during an inquiry program for the activity in an ESC science class. The class study investigating cooperation, psychological arousal, and belief states by Gilly Setter. I quote, teaching students to use and interpret different representational tools is critically important. They are to be scientifically literate, to understand how scientific ideas and concepts are presented, and to appreciate how scientists think and act. Moreover, students not only need to be competent at using, explaining representations, and learning new representations quickly, but they also need to have opportunities to work cooperatively with others, and it is through interaction with the learners, tools, and the environment that learning offers. Unquote. The above calls for more student-centered learning, interactive and participatory teaching and learning programs. That is, teacher education needs. Therefore, teacher education needs a major shift away from the predominant focus on specifying necessary knowledge, for teaching towards specifying teaching practices that entail knowledge and doing. This will require a move from a pre-occupational on curriculum to pedagogy of teacher education. Ladies and gentlemen, further to the above, a key factor to effective delivery, apart from having subject matter knowledge, is job satisfaction. If a teacher is not satisfied with his or her current job, then it will affect the delivery. According to a research article published by Leicester titled Teacher Job Satisfaction Questionnaire in Journal Educational and Psychological Management, published in 1987, it notes that there are 9 key variables contributing to job satisfaction of teachers. Supervision, guidance, school head, collegiality, working conditions, pay, responsibility, work, advancement of opportunities, security, recognition. When one examines these variables of diligent teachers, we will note that we are doing fairly well across. However, we can make improvements on several of the variables, such as recognition, working conditions, and supervision. This is supported by the fact that there is hardly any resignation from the teaching profession to join either labor market, except for migration purposes. Although we are targeting means and ways to improve teacher delivery and job satisfaction through various developments, collaboration, incentives, that 100% of level of commitment and passionate involvement from some of our teachers are still missing, which has an impact on teacher delivery. This is best indicated by the percent of teachers who are absent from school and those who report to school late. If you look at the data collected on absenteeism, in 2016, you'll note that in August, on a particular day, 8.5% of teachers were absent. September, 9%, October, 7.5%, November, 8.5%, January, 5.75%, and February, 5.79%. Teachers coming late in August last year, 4.5%, 3% in September, 4% in October, 6% in November, January 2.75%, February 2.75%. Ladies and gentlemen, I now wish to speak on quality of school infrastructure, which has a strong bearing on the learning environment, as well as contributes to job satisfaction as it affects delivery by teachers. In line with Ministry's Pillar 3, which focuses on the improvement of infrastructure in schools, we are fully committed to ensure that achieve the target of quality infrastructure developed in all schools. We have inherited a large number of schools, particularly those in interior and maritime zones, that have been neglected of basic general maintenance. In 2015, we provided financial assistance for a total of 276 projects amounting to 6.9 million. In 2016, we assisted 278 schools, project amounting to 6.1 million. Ladies and gentlemen, at present we are also looking at ways on how we can manage class size. There have been comments made by some arguing that class sizes in our schools in Fiji are too large. This is really true. At the national level, our class sizes are well below 45, as stipulated in the Education Act. Let's look at what these are. In the primary school, the class size at the national level is 20 students per teacher. The urban area 29, the rural area 14. The secondary school, 28. The national level, urban area, 51, 23. Now, it may not mean much if you look, because averages may not be the full picture. Let's look at the class size per district. The primary, Bakawa district, 17. The Conroe is 17. Eastern, 9. Lotoka is 24. Madhuanta Goa, 16. Nonroga Novosa, 17. Nosoi, 21. Ra, 85. Soga, 81. Then total, 20. Similarly, the secondary, Bakawa, 24. The Conroe, 25. Eastern, 22. Lotoka is 29. Madhuanta, 23. Nonroga Novosa, 23. Nosoi, 80. Ra, 26. 82. So, again, if you go down district level, you find there is no issue. Now, so let's look at the situation in the Suvarnasuri corridor, where there seems to be an issue. Starting from 1 to 13, year 1 in the Suvarnasuri corridor, some schools, the minimum class size is 3, maximum 58, average 36. Year 2, minimum 3, maximum 56, 35. So you will see the minimum from year 1 to 13 ranges from 3 to 20. Maximum goes as high as 64 in some schools. So our table shows that the class size of primary schools in year 1 is not really an issue across the board. The problem is that it is not really a shortage of space. The problem of overcrowding in some schools are caused by parental choice over a particular school. And that is why you will see that some schools have much less number of students per teacher, while some schools have much more beyond the stipulated number per class. So really, it's not a space issue, it is a demand issue for a particular school that causes the school's class size to be over stipulated number. Ladies and gentlemen, job satisfaction index talks about supervision and leadership. There is no doubt that the quality of school leadership is very significant to determining the culture of the school and consequently has an impact on job delivery and satisfaction. The head of schools, principals and teachers play a critical role in the overall performance of any school. There is a lot of research supporting this thesis, including a recent article, 2016 article by Sebastian Alice Cooper, and Juan Carter. The role of teacher leadership in how principals improve classroom instruction and student learning, published in American Journal of Education in 2016, volume 1 group 3, issue number 1, where the authors argue the school has played an important role in promoting teacher leadership by delegating authority and empowering teachers in ways that allow them to influence key organizational decisions and processes. The Fijian school's current delegation model is more top-centered. In this area needs further research and brainstorming on how and what techniques can further delegate to teachers and empower them, give them ownership of what they're doing. And ownership of the school institution as well. The research shows that effective principal use teacher leadership to improve the school learning climate while they work directly on professional development and school program awareness. So it's a major step. Should we implement this particular recommendation in terms of the role of education? Creating safe schools. Ladies and gentlemen, job satisfaction and thus quality delivery in education can only be achieved when students are healthy and safe. Health and nutrition of children cannot be compromised. This has a direct effect on the performance. We are extremely serious when it comes to health, welfare, and well-being of our child. Our policies are in place. This direct action plan to ensure safety of our child. We have trained teachers in basic urgents and first aid. They are now working on training their students. In 2015, a total of 629 teachers and 2016, a total of 2,386 teachers, ECE teachers, and primary secondary teachers were trained OHS and basic first aid. We have made it compulsory that every ECE teacher must have basic OHS and first aid training for their handling little children. In addition, we have rolled out policies such as the new canteen and food policy, which is done by considering the health of our children. Our children are in our custody from ages 5 to 18. And I think if we are able to get things right there, we will be able to turn out healthy and physically fit, and therefore future balanced, physically fit Fijian citizens. In this area, we cannot condone any form of corporal punishment or treatment or abuse for whatever reason. We have to move away from those barbaric practices and treat children with respect. Our zero tolerance for corporal punishment also encompasses the children's right not to be verbally abused. Those who do not follow this law will be subjected to the appropriate disciplinary process. Ministry of Education and the school administrators are concerned about the right in cases, particularly in level schools, as it has an effect not only on the children's welfare but also on maintaining a conducive learning environment in schools. We do not want children to disturb the learning environment, as well as take time away from teachers from teaching into imposing student discipline. This problem is not specific to Fiji, but it has been grappled worldwide. Quite a lot of research has been undertaken to examine the meaning in practice. For example, a recent study published in Volume 55, Issue number 3, the Australian Journal of Education, last year by Portugal and Lewis titled, "Are You Being Your Best? Why Students Behave Responsibly?" argued that morally driven classroom management practices are likely to produce more self-aware, morally autonomous, responsible students who conscientiously aspire to be the best that they can at all times. On this, we argued that our school has, school has helped develop moral value programs in our schools within the efforts of the school so that our children are guided at all times. However, moral education begins at home and there's no substitute for it. We cannot be pushing everything through our school system and saying that our teachers devote available teaching time towards disciplining children without the base foundation of values and virtues being brought from home. This needs to be our core strategy to engage parents in the children's education. Our children go to many disturbance and issues which are prevalent in the modern society. They cannot deal with these things alone. If they don't get parental love and care, they will search for love outside the home, and that's when they will be exploited. The modern day students need their parents to openly discuss issues with them, understand their feelings, developments with them, and provide guidance, support, and progress in life. Our parents' parental engagement framework, the home curriculum, guides parents to adopt certain practices which will create positive learning experience for the child. Ladies and gentlemen, the world is focusing towards an education system which is child-driven and output-oriented. We need to continuously direct our education system towards the same goal to achieve the quality education for 21st century children. We may not have the outcome in our hand, but we have control over the output of the system. Together we can do this. The Ministry of Education, our teachers, parents, and school management are the key drivers of this vision. Laxity on the part of either party will make this vision difficult to achieve. We hope to join together and forge ahead as a national movement to educate every Fijian for journey to prosperity for future Fiji. With these words, it's my pleasure to open this discussion forum, which I intend to be here the whole 2 days, and I look forward to participating in the discussion. Thank you.
Coming. 1, 2, 3.
You have to tell them to squeeze in a bit.